Of course, folks are starting to call in already. I just want to read a couple of comments here, quotes out of the newspaper from some of the city councilors, and I have asked councilors if they would like to join in on the program today. I haven't been able to get through to many. Carrie Winterson, Ward 5 councilor, the councilor for this particular ward where Hawthorn Street is, has a busy work schedule. Friday is not good for him. Although he does say this to the Standard Times, this is not the right place. Speaking about 49 Hawthorn Street, the right place for what has been called a sober house, but realistically is a house for sober people. I am adamant that I don't want you here. I don't want your services there. Council President Brian Gomes. Steve Sheldon, and you've heard these lines not just once or twice, a few times from the councilors.
I have.
How does that make you feel? Do you feel wanted?
No, and I understand the neighbors' trepidation. I don't as much understand the council's trepidation. I look around the neighborhood, and this residential use that I'm proposing, I think, is a lot closer to fitting into the historic nature of that neighborhood. As I walk down the street, I see dentist offices, doctor's offices, a nursing home, office space, a B&B next door. They're all a lot further away from the use I'm proposing, in my estimation, than a residential use like I'm proposing.
You also got a letter from the city telling you to cease and desist before you could even get started.
I did.
What did you think?
I still have. I'm trying to get some detail, and this is on me, not the city. But I'm asking for detail because it was very vague. It said they did an investigation, and they determined that what I was doing did not fit in.
It says, according here, it appears that you are changing the use of the building.
But they don't tell me what they tell me they think I'm doing. So I'd like to know specifically: what is it that I am proposing that the city has determined doesn't fit into the zoning?
Have you been able to reach the inspector's office?
The inspector actually did call me back. He was very responsive, and it's up to me to write a letter, which I have not done yet.
And what are you supposed to say in this letter?
I'm going to ask for some detail. I'm going to ask him what his investigation determined. I'm proposing a residential use, and I don't know if that's his determination. Did he determine, how many people are going into the house?
You probably don't have this answer. I'm going to ask. How does he determine you're not inside? You've never sent anything to them before.
He never spoke to me prior to issuing the cease and desist, so I don't know how he would determine it.
Don't you find that very interesting? Welcome to New Bedford. By the way, 508-996-0500. Let us take a couple of calls if you don't mind. Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. I have a couple of questions from Mr. Sheldon. First of all, when you said it makes a little bit more money than the average rent, do you get assistance from the federal government, from the welfare office? You get a check that gets mailed to you? Is that how that works?
No, it doesn't. These are all market rent. Each person pays their own rent. I get no subsidies. I pay my tax, and I get no grants or any other money from federal or state.
Okay. Other question. This is such a great program. Why don't you put it in your neighborhood, a block away from your house, or 2 blocks away from your house, if you're so... And you get to supervise it closely instead of putting it in all kinds... Because I've noticed the areas that you put in, like Worcester, like Lowell, and now New Bedford, we have such an epidemic of this problem. But where you live, you don't have that epidemic. Why not give a helping hand to put in your neighborhood?
Yeah, I'd respond to that. There is a sober house in Newton. There's two sides. So one is there's more of a need in Lowell, in New Bedford, than there is in Newton. So it needs just physically more beds. And the other reason is economics. We can provide a great house. This is a 5,000 square foot house. People are going to pay less than they would for renting an apartment. On average, $500 a month each to have 1,000 square feet of living space. The economics are that in today's climate, the real estate prices, and the interest rates allow us to give great living space in these towns.
Are you providing food? Do you provide utilities or anything along those lines?
No. So they rent the house and they provide their own meals and everything else. It is a rental.
Caller, thank you for calling. Let us continue. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Turn your radio off.
How you doing, guys? My question is, if this wasn't a sober house, if this was just a rooming house, would you have any issues?
I'm not sure that that's up to me to decide something about what the city is zoning. Your question is?
My question is, like, why even bother going public with that? You want to make it a sober house. Why not just make it a rooming house, and then when you get people to move in, just, make sure they're sober. Why, by going, I don't know what the city councilors are thinking. This, it's a great thing that you're doing. Maybe they'd be happier if you wasn't a sober house. It was just a rooming house, and guess what? I don't care what people do. And how do you like that? I don't think they like that too much. I don't understand the conflict with this. Grandstanding, perhaps, I guess.
I think that it's something to consider, that in fact the restriction makes it the tenant's typically a better tenant.
You can't just have a rooming house, whether it's sober or not, just a rooming house. I know that house. I used to go there. Beautiful house.
It is a beautiful house.
Sad that both the Greens, both doctors are gone now?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. It's been 20 years since I've been in there, so yeah, they were nice people.
Thank you for your call. I do appreciate it. I'm going to move on. Prior to you purchasing 49 Hawthorn, what was going on? Is it empty right now? Is it vacant? What?
Right now it's vacant. Prior, it was used both as a single-family house, 8 bedrooms, or 7. There's 8 bedrooms. 7 of the bedrooms were being used by the prior occupants. There were 2 doctors from Brookline who owned it. And they also had 2 separate offices in the house, a doctor's office and I think a psychiatrist's office.
Wow. So basically, you're turning it into full residential as opposed to office residential.
I am.
Wow. And there's no law against what you're doing, to the best of my knowledge.
I don't believe so.
Let us continue. 508-996-0500. Hello.
How you doing?
Hello.
Yes, I'm here.
Go ahead.
Okay, I'd like to ask Mr. Sheldon, since this was a residential piece of property, am I correct?
Yes, you are.
And it paid taxes, property taxes, is the conversion going to be paying taxes, or is it going to come under the guise of a nonprofit?
There's no conversion, and I absolutely will pay the full amount of the tax.
So this piece of property will pay property tax and contribute to the betterment of the city then?
Absolutely.
Okay, that was my question. Thank you for your answer, and thank you.
Thank you very much. Let us continue. Hello.
Hello. To me, this is absolutely absurd what they're doing to this gentleman. I mean, if you think about what they allow these absentee landlords, what they're doing in the city, buying up these properties and just putting whoever they want in there and all the issues we've been having. And here we are, a gentleman that has a plan in place that will actually have people that want to be sober, want to contribute to the city in a positive way, and the city council is putting a roadblock in front of him. It makes absolutely no sense to me. I'm scratching my head over here, guys.
Let me ask you something. Do you think that the council is being hypocritical?
Yes, very hypocritical, because on one hand, they grandstand that they want to help people and, the opioid crisis and all the crises we've been having. But on the other hand, not in our backyard, because obviously that's a high voting area that's very politically involved. And that's why they're grandstanding on this. Let's face it. That's my opinion.
Fair enough.
Because in other areas that we call so-called, high crime areas or whatever, there's nobody. These councils aren't standing up when they're building these sober houses or whatnot in our neighborhood. So it is hypocritical.
Thank you. I appreciate the call. There goes that term again. I think it's going to be one of those terms you're not going to lose, sober house. It is a house for sober people. What would be the opposite?
the opposite will be a market rate rental, and it is a little ironic that we would say that we don't want this type of house, this residential rental that requires people not to drink, but in fact, it's okay to rent to people who do drink. I won't say do drugs, but is that what we're saying?
Well, maybe down the road after the vote in 2016, if marijuana is legalized, then you could be saying drugs. 508-996-0500. That should be let me ask you this question. Similar to what I asked the caller about the council being hypocritical, what about the neighbors in the area? Are they being hypocritical? Because they're also speaking out against you.
Yeah, I don't think the neighbors are being hypocritical. I think the term sober housing, it can be broad, it can be confusing, and it can be scary. And I don't think they understand the residential nature of it.
Well, I'm going back over the newspaper from last October. I believe it was the 23rd, 28th, something like that. Councilor David Alves said he'd like to have a chance to talk to people, and you said the same thing. They had this meeting. How much did they let you talk at this meeting last Tuesday?
They let me speak some. So they brought me up to the lectern and asked me to describe what I was doing. And then about 10 minutes afterwards, the councilors were given 2 rounds each to ask me questions. I felt in most cases I wasn't given an adequate chance to answer. There was a lot of grandstanding going on.
By whom?
By the council. I don't know the councilors' names. Some councilors were very even-keeled, and I thought were on point and asked things about zoning and my intentions, and others weren't.
Fair enough. Let us continue. Hello.
Hey, good morning, Brian.
Good morning. You're on with Steve Sheldon.
How you doing, Mr. Sheldon?
Hi.
I agree with your previous caller. The city councilors are grandstanding on this just because of the neighborhood that's in. For some reason, they think that neighborhood has got priorities and it's better than any other neighborhood in the city. If this was going on any other location in the city, they wouldn't be saying boo about it. So my advice to you is, you're doing a good deed. Fight as much as you can, and if you have to bring the city to court, bring them to court. Have a good day. Good luck.
Thank you for your call.
Thank you. Yeah, my intention and my hope is not to do that. I've reached out both to the neighbors after the meeting and the councilman and asked to meet privately with them, maybe in a smaller group. There was over 50 people and me. There are 50 people opposed because all the councilors, minus one. There was one councilor who was not apparently opposed to this.
Oh, really? Which one?
I'm sorry, I don't know his name.
Well, you better find out.
I better find out. But I will know his name. So I've asked to meet both with the neighbors, my immediate neighbors in a smaller group. I offered to host it. One of the neighbors then offered to host a meeting. And I'm hoping that will be organized, and he'll call me in the next couple of days. I also asked the same of the councilors to meet with them.
So what can the councilors say to you? Scratch. Let's try this a different way. If everybody's opposed to what you want to do, what would be your next step?
I'm not clear on that yet. I don't know what my next step is going to be. I'm going to, again, hopefully meet with them, and I'm hoping that they will have a chance to both look into the law and look into perhaps the industry, and they'll feel more comfortable with it when they have some time to digest some more information around.
So they digest and they still don't like and regurgitate back to you. Do you move forward with your plan? Because at least according to the law and case study that you've presented, you are in the right.
I'm going to have to make that decision down the road. I haven't decided yet whether I'll move forward or I'll rent it as a market rental. But my plan is to keep the house in any case. So there is a chance that I will rent it to just the open market.
Has any councilor or any member of the city, of city government, have they offered you an alternative for you to do with the house?
No, and that's one of the issues I'd like to bring up when I hopefully meet with the council.